So, Oedipus the king. I guess the first question I always like to start with maybe is why are we reading this? Okay, there's a zillion plays in the world. Why are we reading this one? And there are a couple of reasons I'd give you right up front. One is that it comes really from the birth of theater. As far as I don't know what the Chinese traditions or the Indian traditions are, say, but in the West, theater began in ancient Greece, in Athens. It was part of a religious festival. It was also, it grew up out of very primitive sources. I told you some of this in class, I don't want to repeat it, but how we think that drama probably began with primitive people around a campfire, laying down a beat and dancing and then chanting and then eventually telling a story because in the arts people get bored and so they elaborate things more. That's true in all the arts. And so what began as a dance ends up being a presentation of a story, first just by the chorus, and then eventually, sooner or later, there's a ham in the bunch, and he likes attention, and so he steps out of the dance, and he starts pretending to be the main character in the story, and they go back and forth with him. So you got an actor and a chorus. Okay, the chorus is everybody else, and the chorus ends up sort of speaking for the community and things like that. It's like, hey, what are you doing over there? You're messing us up here. You can't do that stuff. And he says, hey, I got to do what I got to do. A man's got to do what a man's got to do, or whatever it is. And they chant it. And if they can, they probably sing it. Okay, because people like music. All right, so we think that then eventually two actors step out because an actor going back and forth with another actor is more interesting than an actor giving a monologue. And eventually the Greeks got to three actors and the chorus. They never passed on the chorus. So we think that's how theater began. And that's why the chorus in Oedipus the King is a big deal. That already looks different to us than it did to them, because we go, the only time we ever see a chorus is like in a Broadway musical when they sing like a big production number or something. But the Greeks, every play had a chorus, and that was the community talking to the characters. And sometimes, like in this play, it's the town of Thebes going, "Please, King Oedipus, help us, we're suffering." Okay, or wow, what did she just say? Oh man, that's awfully heavy. I wonder what the gods would say about that. Right. So it's kind of like the way in high school you felt that everything you did was in a fishbowl, and that you started dating this girl and everybody's talking about it, or the way social media, I guess, is probably a Greek chorus on a whole lot of people's lives. Another thing about this play you probably need to know when you look at it on the page is like it's written like poetry, and that might, well, crap, Shakespeare is too, but why does anybody do that, for crying out loud? And the way, well, with the Greeks, with Shakespeare, it's another matter. We'll talk about Shakespeare later. But with the Greeks, what you've got is that originally, we're pretty sure, I think scholars are quite sure, that all of this was sung. So you're saying, so where's the tune? And the thing is, we don't know the tunes because the Greeks didn't have musical notation, so they couldn't write music down the way Beethoven or Mozart wrote music down. So because of that, what you're reading are song lyrics. Okay, and that we think, and when the chorus does something, and if you see the word strophe and anti-strophe, that probably has to do with directions in which they're dancing. Those big choral numbers, like in a Broadway musical, are the chorus singing. And even the actors, they're singing too. They might be, like in opera, they might be doing recitatif, where it's not like a song with a complete melody, but it's all sung. Actually, I've been told that opera was an attempt to reinvent Greek tragedy. A knowledgeable person told me that once. Anyway, you're looking at song lyrics. Now that probably sounds like a big drag because You know how it is when you read song lyrics. They don't look that good if you're not hearing the tune in your head. Now, if you're looking at it and you know the song, so you're hearing the music in your head, then it's not so bad. But if you just read song lyrics for virtually any song and you don't know what the tune's like, it seems pretty lame. So that's a disadvantage we have reading this. Okay, so these are all reasons why we might not read Oedipus the King. But the reason we do it, besides the fact that it's historical, it was there at the beginning of this whole enterprise of theater, and the Greeks themselves thought it was their best play. When Aristotle wanted to write about Greek tragedy, which he did, he talked about Oedipus the King because he thought that was the best. But all of that is reasons why maybe you pay it historical respect. It's not a reason why you kind of get into it. Here's why you could get into it. As the critic Lionel Trilling said, the plot of Oedipus the King is the most ingenious and terrible that has ever been devised. And I think that's true. Now I'm going to stop this recording and then come back to another one and start talking to you about why I think that's true.